Hey guys, so in this video what we're going to be covering is some topics from 2.2 to 2.5 in your textbook, which includes polynomial end behavior and limit notation, which is something we covered last week. But we also covered that in Algebra 2, and in fact all of these topics have been covered in Algebra 2, so we're going to do a quick review. I want to really focus this year on the things that I know you're going to need if you go on to take a calculus class. And so this stuff is necessary, but it's something that I tend to have to kind of reteach every year anyway. But you need to have at least have it up here in your brain or in your toolbox so that when you see it again, it's not brand new or like it's been a really long time. Something like that. So anyway, we're going to be covering polynomial end behavior and limit notation. Like I said, we did that already. Polynomial long division and synthetic division, which is what I'm going to focus on in this video. The factor theorem, which directly relates to polynomial division. Zeros of polynomials, also related to polynomial division. And then the big one here, the fundamental theorem of algebra. All right, so first let's look at let's just do a review of long division here. So we have this 15 right here, which is called the divisor. We're going to look at a little bit of the vocabulary here. This guy underneath here is called the dividend. And then the process for doing long division with numbers, which you learned in, I don't know, like 4th grade or something, is very similar to the process with polynomial division, which is why I want to go review this real quickly. And then we'll do one with polynomials, a couple of examples, and then I'll have you guys do some from the practice. Okay, so we look at the divisor, which is 15, and we go, okay, well, 15 doesn't go into 3, so we go to 34. So 15 goes into 34 twice. And then you take 15 times 2, which is 30, and you write that number down right underneath the 34. And think about what you do. You have to subtract. And so 34 minus 30 is going to be 4. And then we take this 6 and we bring that down. So then you go, okay, well, what do I have to multiply 15 by? How many times does 15 go into 46? And 15 times 3 is 45. So we're going to put the 3 here. We put the 45 here and we subtract. So you have 1, 46 minus 45 is 1. Now we're going to bring that 2 down here. And then how many times does 15 go into 12? Well, it's 0 times. So 15, then we put 15 times 0, which is 0. And we subtract and we get 12. And then now we're going to have to start going into decimals. But instead of that, we're not doing that with polynomial long division. What we're going to do is, when you get to that point, this is just going to be, this is the remainder, which you guys, that's where you start out learning long division. You have a remainder if it doesn't go in evenly. And this guy up here is called the quotient. And if you take 3,462, that dividend, divided by 15, you will get, it's equal to 230 plus, what you do is you take plus 12 divided by 15. So the result is the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. I'm going to pull up my calculator here and show you how this works. Okay, on the calculator here, I'll clear some of this stuff out. The number I had for my dividend was, I'm going to do 3,462 divided by 15. And the calculator tells us it's 230.8. And our quotient was 230. And the remainder, plus if I add the remainder over the divisor, which was 12 over 15, you get 230.8. So we're going to write our answers to the polynomial long division. There's different ways to do it, but what I want you guys to do for our review is we're going to write the answer after the long division as the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor, and that's the result of the division. Okay, so here's our first example of polynomial long division. So you guys need to write this example down. and then do the problem with me. Okay, so we're dividing by x plus 2, so my divisor is going to be x plus 2. My dividend is x cubed minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. Now notice this dividend has no missing terms because we have the highest power is, the degree of that polynomial is degree 3 or cubic. Then it goes to degree 2, degree 1, and degree 0, so there's nothing missing. So that's something you're going to have to watch for when you do polynomial long division. So the first thing we do is we look at this guy right here, just like when we had the 15, and we looked at the first term, and you think, okay, what do I have to multiply x by to get x cubed? And the answer is x squared. X squared times another x is x cubed. So what we do with that is we take that x squared and we multiply it by x plus 2. Just like in the example, we had 15 times 2, and we wrote that down right underneath the 34. All right, so we're gonna write this result here. I'm gonna do some color coding here. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna write that result right underneath these terms here. So x squared times x is gonna give me x cubed. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. And by coincidence, think about what process we use here. We're going to subtract. And by coincidence, both of these terms cancel out, and that was just purely, that's not always going to happen. But I have this negative 2x, oh, it doesn't cancel out actually, minus, I'm going to subtract 2x squared from negative 2x squared, because remember, you're subtracting both of these terms. So I have negative 2x squared minus 2x squared is going to give me negative 4x squared. And then we designed it so that that lead term, x cubed, will cancel out. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0. So here we write that. See a little meter there. So remember, you subtract both of the terms there. And then our next step is we're going to bring down this next term, which is plus 4x. So now we're going to look at this guy right here and this guy right here, which is a negative 4x squared, and you think, okay, what do I have to multiply x by to get negative 4x squared? And the answer is negative 4x. So you're going to go negative 4x, and you're going to multiply it by this divisor, and we're going to put the result right underneath here. So negative 4x times x is negative 4x squared. And when I subtract, that term is going to drop out, which is what we want. Then negative 4x times 2 is going to be minus 8x. Now, subtract both terms. You have 4x minus negative 8 minus a negative. Actually, we add, and we're going to get 12x because we had to subtract a negative 8, which makes it plus 8x, and then you get 12x. Negative 4x squared minus a negative 4x squared means you add 4x squared to negative 4x squared, and that adds to 0. And again, we designed it that way intentionally so that term would cancel out. And now, the next thing is we bring down this minus 3. If you're having any trouble keeping up, please pause as you go and think about what is happening here. And I will do another example in a minute. So you're looking at this x again, and this 12x. What do you have to multiply x by to get 12x? And that would be 12. So I'm going to take 12 times x plus 2, distribute that 12, and we're going to write that right underneath here. So I get 12x plus 24, and we're subtracting both terms. So think about how that's going to work. And we end up with, let me do a different color here, negative 3 minus 24, because you're subtracting it, is going to be negative 27, and 12x minus 12x is 0. And so we have negative 27, we have nothing else to bring down, and x doesn't go into negative 27, so this guy right here is our remainder. This guy right here is our quotient. So when you do this division, you take x cubed minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 3 and divide it by x plus 2, you get the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. All right, so that is example 1. You know what? Let's just stop there and I'll do another example. In this, actually before I go, in this example, when you set this up, there is a missing term. So when you write this out, your x minus 4 is going to be your divisor, and your dividend, so that things line up nicely and that you can, so that they have like terms lined up right below it, you want to put in a 0 x cubed here, minus x squared, and then plus 2x minus 1. So why don't you guys go ahead and try to do this problem. I will go through it right now and I will give you the solution, but I'm going to make it into I will also make this into a separate video because I don't think this video is getting kind of long. All right, but go ahead and try it and then check your answer on the next video.